Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome back to 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I am talking to my good friend who actually have his mustache back. It's Bobby Fish. Bobby, how are you doing today?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. And yes, the mustache is back. It's been a welcome reappearance in my world.
It's great to see you because last time we talked, you didn't have a mustache. People, honestly, the last interview we did, people didn't believe for a little while it was you. They were like, that's not Bobby Fish. Like the comments on the video were like, that's not Bobby Fish. That's not him. He doesn't have a mustache. Like it's,
Yeah.
I'm very shocked. It's like Santa Claus without his hat, without his red coat on. You, without a mustache, it's not Bobby Fish. I'm sorry. You're just Bobby.
It's a little bit signature at this point. I get it, and I guess I wasn't aware of the way that the viewing world kind of takes a little bit of ownership of the appearance.
Yes, it needs to be there. If it's not there, I'm sorry, you're just Mr. Bobby to me. But it's good to have you back, Bobby Fish, and your mustache. It's great to be here with you, mustache. But you just got back from Dubai. Like this man is traveling around the world, like 24-hour traveling span to get somewhere to make your boxing debut to TKO to win the big matchup. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, feeling great. I think with the time change and everything, I know my wife and I, because she was able to come over with me, um, we're definitely reeling a little bit, but we're back home, so you're back in those familiar surroundings, and things start to settle in again, and you go, "Wow, we just had a pretty cool week."
It's amazing that in your debut too, like I didn't have any doubts in my mind, but there's always those people who hope that people lose for some strange reason in life. But you did a great job, TKO. Like the training to go into this, obviously you have a background, but yet going into this from professional wrestling, what was the transition? Was it an easy one?
Well, I have a martial arts background
Yes.
from when I was a kid, and I have three amateur kickboxing fights. And kickboxing is something I'm very comfortable with. This happened to be just boxing,
Yeah.
so it was my boxing fight. And boxing and kickboxing, although like the layman might look at it and be like, "Oh, well, you just take the kicks away," but it's very nuanced. In that way, that's where the differences are stark contrast by for sure. So there was some work that needed to go into this camp that was different than what would have been prior experience, just to not completely redirect, but change some habitual behavior, just some things that are different with kickboxing and boxing.
Yeah, the referee got in your face for a split second when you tried to spine buster your opponent there, and that's what everyone thinks. There's a still image of you picking him up. Everyone's like, "Oh, Bobby couldn't get his wrestling out of him." Like, what? Again, what was that? Was that just like you're just in fight mode?
I think combat sports and pro wrestling, I will put in that category as well. When the proximity is close like that, and all worlds are blended a little bit, and like especially with MMA nowadays, like you blend styles, and the things that you are most familiar with, where the most muscle memory is, they're gonna happen sometimes almost involuntarily. And so grappling, and they're in Muay Thai, which is something that I do a lot of. There's a lot of clinch work, and that's kind of what that was. So he had wrapped me up a couple different times, and in boxing, that they usually wait for the referee to break it, and that usually happens pretty quickly. They weren't really breaking that up so quickly, so for me, in a clinch, the first thing I'm going to do is twist you, to the side, or I'm going to look to get my hips closer to your hips, and that stuff's all involuntary. So that's kind of what started, and then when I bent over, and all I was trying to do was stand back up, he was kind of on me, so
Mm.
he ended in the air. So I wasn't trying to slam him, but it looked that way.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh shit, Bobby,
Yeah.
he's getting crazy out there." Though, the last time I talked to you, you did say you wanted to challenge CM Punk to like a boxing or kickboxing match. Now that you have one underneath your belt and CM Punk really hasn't been doing well in those backgrounds of fighting beyond wrestling, you think it's kind of one-sided now if you fought CM
I
Punk?
Punk is not a blip on my radar. The man doesn't he doesn't exist for me.
He doesn't exist. Sammy Guevara, though, was at this event as well, supplying some commentary. Was there, did you guys see each other? Hello, anything?
Yeah, we did. We saw each other in the hotel. He his wife was with him, so
Oh,
my
nice.
wife him met his wife. You know, we had it was nice to see Sammy. It's been a while because I don't work there anymore. But yeah, always good to see old friends.
Yeah. And speaking of old friends, it seems that after this crazy media scrum a few months ago in AEW, they've been playing these vignettes of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks returning. It seems like Full Gear is this weekend. So they're really trying to amp up, like, buy this pay-per-view because you're going to see your old friends back. And again, the last time I talked to you, you were very passionate about defending your friends in the way that they are being treated. And yet here they are returning now. Like, everything that happened with me and you talking, did anything like that kind of like affect what was going on? Because you said some things and the wrestling world flipped upside down with them. So did that lead to something for you with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks? Did you talk after that and they were like, thank you so much for defending us?
I mean, those are guys that I worked years with in Japan. We've always been good friends. I've heard from all of the parties mentioned between all of this. Some as recently as a couple days ago, and those are guys that I stay in contact with. I wish them well. I want nothing but success for those guys, and I would think it's the same sentiment coming back to me. And they are my friends, and like, yeah, I mean, that's what friends do. You take up for so you're not going to let people mess with your friends.
No. And one of your friends, also Adam Cole, unfortunately, he's not doing very well, it seems, because he got a concussion a few months ago, and we haven't really seen anything from him. Have you spoken to him anything, like a health update? Because I know a lot of wrestling fans are just concerned that, they thought he was like the second coming of Shawn Michaels, and now he's got a concussion, and no one knows what's up.
Our business is a rough business, but it's the only contact sport really with no off season.
Yeah.
Even like May and stuff. Guys will train for a fight camp, have the fight, and then they're off for a bit. And like sometimes people, I think, lose their minds when it comes to a guy stepping away for a little bit. And sometimes it's injury related, and sometimes it's not as injury related as people think. And I just think the appetite that the wrestling audience has to know everything, it just gets bizarre sometimes. I mean, sometimes like, people need to be human beings because
Mm.
at the end of the none of us are performers 24/7. So yeah, when people need to go away, give them their space, give them some time. They'll be back.
Now, has that happened to you before where someone thinks what you've done on TV is actually who you are in real life? For instance, I'll bring up an example. Muhammad Hassan was, a character that was kind of angled at like, oh, being a terrorist. He wasn't a terrorist character, but the way they perceived it. And I imagine him walking through the streets, going to a store, people go up to him and believe what they see on TV. But yet with any in the industry, it's not like they go up to Johnny Depp and think he is Captain Jack Sparrow. Does that happen to you where people cannot understand that you are not the character that you play on TV? There is a version of you, of course, that is connected, but you're not that person.
Yeah, I think so. I think especially recently, very much it's been like people are having a hard time separating the real from the performance. But then that's also indicative of you being a good performer. So like I'm not mad at that. I have no problem with that. And that line is very blurry. And I want that line to be blurry because if it's not blurry, then am I really feeling my work? It's not to say that we're necessarily method actors, but like there's a thread of both the performance and the person that are in there. I just know that, with my experience, recently I was feeling the itch to compete, and I got an opportunity to scratch that, and that was cool. And if people misconstrue any part of any of this, that's cool. I'm good with that too. Like, I don't mind being hated. I truly don't. And I don't mind being, it's nice to be loved too. But I say, if I have my wife's love and my daughters love me, I don't care about the guy in the front row with the Cheeto fingers or the guy at home hacking away on his
Oh,
keyboard.
you saw my Cheeto fingers?
Yeah. With his opinion and his 13 followers. Like, I don't, whatever.
Well, because you think about it, when you're 80 years old, is that guy in the front row, the Cheeto finger, is going to be taking care of you when you're an old man in the old age home? No, he's not
No.
going to. Your wife, your kids will. They'll take care of you versus the people who believe that you owe them something because you're on TV. What?
Right. They're gonna care who I did a job to, or who I didn't, or who I beat, or what title somebody penciled into the script to say that I won, even though I didn't win it. Like, it's just, sometimes we really need to check ourselves, and this includes fans, like, when it comes to this business in general. Like, it's all supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun.
And
You
what?
know, I did a boxing fight because it was fun. I did it no other reason than, like, I enjoyed the process and the whole experience. It was friggin' fun to do.
That's awesome. Again, I think you should be having fun. Obviously, you didn't become a wrestler to not have fun, and then obviously now you're with boxing as well. Are we going to see you box again soon, or is that was just like you had an itch and you wanted to scratch it?
No, I have a 2 fight deal with Global Titans. So the second one, we're trying to do kickboxing or MMA. That would be my preference. It's what my preference was up front as well. But where they came to me with the offer, and it was boxing. So in an effort to not rock the boat, you go along to get along. And I said, yeah, I can box. So this next one, I would really like for it to be kickboxing or MMA, but we're still working out those details.
Nice. And then most recently with wrestling, you showed up in Impact Wrestling, and that was my mind was blown because I did an interview with you. We said some crazy things, and then like the next 2 weeks, I've seen you in Impact, and I was like, oh my, Bobby, what are you doing, Bobby? Though Overdrive, their pay-per-view monthly special is this coming weekend as well, and right now, as I look at the card, you're not on the card. Like, do you have plans? Is there going to be a movement to get you on there, or is this just an Impact pay by appearance type of deal versus you are an Impact wrestler?
I mean, I've had numerous conversations with them, and we've explored different options, and there's potential all the way across the board. At the moment, I will say that on paper, I'm a free agent, and you as the audience don't know where I'm gonna turn up, because I'll be honest, I don't know where I'm gonna turn up.
Oh my, oh my.
It's pretty cool. I don't think anybody expected me to turn up in Dubai on the Mayweather undercard. So it's just par for the course at this point. Like, it's an exciting landscape, and I have some opportunities that I didn't necessarily have on my radar per se, but I'm here for all of it, and working on exploring those things.
Well, I'm excited to see the next steps for Bobby Fish and his mustache because it's back. It's prominent. I'll be honest. This is a quick beard story. I had a huge beard, and what happened was my beard turned on me. Ended up like affecting my face, and like I had to go to the doctors for it. Like, has your mustache ever turned heel on you, where it started just ripping apart your face?
Not, no, not quite that. I've had a beard issue here and there, but I wouldn't put it on that level. That sounds traumatic.
It was awful. It was awful. They showed me pictures of how bad it could get, and I was like, please don't show me those photos. Like, I just get me the cream to fix my face because something's happening, and it's this damn beard. So I had to like shave it off and cut it off, and move this piece here and move that piece there, like a Mr. Potato Head. It
Oh man,
it was awful. So
this
from one from one facial hair person to another, I just wanted to share that quick story with you because he has a prominent mustache. I thought you might appreciate a beard story. I don't know.
Of course, how could I not?
Yeah, you're part of the club, right? You have like a business card, the
Yes.
Illuminati. Well, Bobby Fish,
Uh,
thank you so much for being here on 10 Count talking about your amazing debut in the boxing world. Again, that's so crazy that you were on like the Mayweather undercard. Like to me, that's something people probably are like working their ass off for entire life, and someone they come to you, they're like, "Hey, you want to be
yeah.
on this?" And you're like, "Well, hell yeah, I do."
Yeah.
That's an opportunity you can't pass up. Like you said, you didn't want to rock the boat, so obviously you say yes. Like, is that mind blowing to you?
Yeah, and that's really what it came down to was like I was looking to do kickboxing or MMA, and then this happened, and it was like, okay, I have a fair amount of boxing ability. Can we sharpen those tools a little bit more for an 8 week camp or so and be prepared for this? And I sat down with my coach and we discussed it, and he thought I could, and I thought I could, and so we were like, yeah, it's a no brainer. Do it.
Outstanding. Well, I really appreciate you being here on 10 and Count. I really do because I want to talk to you about that TKO, that boxing debut that was so exciting. And I'm excited to see what happens next. Even you don't know what's next for Bobby Fish. So the rest of the world will have to wait and watch with the binoculars on, waiting to see where you pop up, hopefully WWE. But we'll see how that works out for everybody in the future. I didn't say anything underneath my breath there, WWE.
I
So
didn't.
I didn't. Undisputed era. Thank you so much for being here, Bobby Fish on Tank. I've been Steve Fall. He's been Bobby Fish. He's gonna get some sleep, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye. And